How's it going, everybody? We're back in the saw shop. I got my quilted Husqvarna hat on with a 266. I love this hat, and she's warm. Why am I wearing this hat? Well, it's minus 28 Celsius. Hooray! I know, friends. It is absolutely insane where I live. I didn't know it until I became a YouTuber and or played a YouTuber on the YouTubes and started talking to people from all over the world. They're like, "What? It never even freezes here." I had no idea, friends. It's one of the pluses and negatives of YouTube. Get to talk to people from all over the world and get to listen to them tell you how crazy it is where you live. That's what we're dealing with. Minus 28 Celsius. I will take a screenshot. You guys know where we're gonna go. DGP oil. I wanted to try this stuff at minus 30, a pour test. Going over a couple things. One thing, friends. So I'm looking for this hat today, and my wife was cleaning out some stuff in the closet. You ever buy something and you lose it? Honey, did you see that thing I bought like a year and a half ago? And she's like, I don't know what you did with it. You could have put it anywhere. It could be under the seat of your truck, which I checked. Could be in the saw shop, possible, but haven't found it yet. Or it could be in the closet by my Husqvarna hat. And guess what? There it was. A door seal kit for the Woodsman wood stove. I'm excited. The way that thing is now, I don't even have to turn the air dampers on because it sucks right around the doors. Burns a lot of wood and makes a ton of heat, but you can't slow it down. So you end up burning all your wood very quickly now. So we'll have to pull the doors off and put a new seal kit. Okay, you guys know I've been testing this DGP oil. Had a lot of people comment on the last video. Mostly positive. Some people were saying, yeah, you're just showing that for this and that. Honestly, friends, the truth is the truth. And we tried this in Ohio. I was very skeptical of it, I'm not going to lie. And it was really good in the heat. Then talking to Scott there from DGP, he actually set up next to us at the booth next to the Ripsaw tent, talking about how cold it gets where I am. And he said, well, would you be interested, or we had a conversation. I would be interested in testing this in the cold. So again, friends, he just sent me a box. Google this DGP oil. I'm not even sure where you can buy it at this point. I know you can get it in a DeWalt branded jug. It's like a DeWalt bio oil. That's what I know, friends. There's no links in the description or anything like that. This is just the Tin Man horsing around outside, showing you guys. I like to show you guys products without any strings attached. Anytime a company wants to send me a product, which you guys know around here is very rarely do I show anything on this channel. Part of being a YouTuber is every day you get an email. Hey, YouTuber, would you like to sell my brake clean, door seal kit, carburetor, chainsaw cylinder? It never ends, friends. I don't do that kind of stuff. But when I meet somebody who's genuine and really is curious what I think of their product without any strings attached, I'm in. And I'm always willing to help companies that are serious about helping you guys. This isn't about me. This is about helping you guys and you guys finding good products. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to test them on the channel. Okay, so minus 28 outside. You guys that were here in the last video, I left those tubs outside. We had a snowstorm. It's been minus 30 for a couple days. I'll show you guys a screenshot. Let's go outside and let's dig those out of the snow and let's see what they've done. I'm going to bring this out. This will be our control. Okay, this has been in my warm shop all day. I'm going to pour this stuff too, and we can see how much has it changed. Anyways, you guys also ask about, I'm just going to move you guys up here. You guys ask about outside. If you've never experienced this kind of cold, how does a guy like me hang out outside? Well, layering. So, if I was going to hang out outside today, I would wear Helly Hansen, we call them long underwear, whatever you want to call them. Usually a full suit, that's a long sleeve suit. So that stuff is good to about minus 50. That'll be my base layer. I will wear super heavy, like an Arctic sock, and I will pull them over so that there's no way air is getting in between my ankle and my foot. Then, these are lined insulated jeans, okay? For right now, because I'm only going out there for a short period, that's what I'm wearing today. If I was going to hang outside all day, I will wear a pair, I don't think they sell them anymore, but they're called Carhartt Extreme pants. Those are like minus 80 work pants. They're super heavy, super thick, okay? T-shirt over top of the Helly Hansen thermal underwear, okay? Long sleeve and then a short sleeve. And then this is a Carhartt, I've had this for years. Carhartt sweater, these are super thick. You need a toque. Now, I usually don't clava up, but if you're a barefaced fella, you need to wear clava. Cover all skin, okay? The only thing exposed is your eyes. Now, the problem with that, friends, I worked outside for 20 years. When you're outside all day in 30, 40 below, and I used to do that to pay the bills every day, you will get frostbite on your eyes. Your eyes will, almost like you have welder's flash. So that's one thing you can't protect. Then, put your hood on, okay? Put your hood on, tie your drawstrings up, okay? Keep her like that. And then, this is a like minus 50, minus 60, like triple insulated jacket. And then, put another hood up, okay? This is how you go outside where I live. If you don't, you will get frostbite quickly. So, anyways, just something interesting. This is what I used to wear all day, and then I would wear a tool belt over top of everything. Somewhere in the, with your boots, my boots are insulated. These are good to about minus 50. If I was going to be outside all day, I have a pair of Helly Hansen Arctic work boots. They're about minus 80, minus 100 rated. Those weigh about 10 pounds. So, kind of interesting, maybe not, but when you work outside in this climate, and there are a lot of us that do, construction doesn't stop here just because it's cold. You're wearing me somewhere in the neighborhood with my tool belt, probably 60 to 80 pounds of gear all day, and you walk around like that. Keeps you in good shape, but when you get home, you're exhausted. Anyhow, let's go see what this stuff looks like. I hope I didn't bring it way past its pour point, but if we did, we'll show that. Anyhow, let's go outside. And here's the screenshot of the temperature outside. It's minus 28 Celsius, feels like minus 42. And that's minus 19 Fahrenheit, feels like minus 43 Fahrenheit. That's cold. Okay, I left this stuff outside. Here's our, I'll turn the light on here. Here's our pour jug with the conventional oil. It's, well, there you can see it right there. It's frozen. Okay, let's take these off. Oh, my hands are starting to already yell at me. Take these off. Okay, so this is the DGP. Let's start with the conventional oil. Whew. Here's your conventional oil. Again, it's like taffy. Pretty much frozen solid. It's hard, chunky. Not the happiest stuff. Let's have a look at the DGP. Just gonna go to this side here. Friends, it's so cold I just put my finger through that lid. So we're not gonna pour it into the lids like I planned. You guys see this? Just flows nicely. I mean, it's thicker than it was, you know, stock or whatever you want to call it, but look at that versus this. Okay, have a look at that. How long does it take to run from one end to the other? I think it's pretty apparent. Okay, now here's our control oil. Okay, that's stuff that's been in my shop all day. I'm gonna do one more thing. I saw Buchan do this in his video and I thought to myself, you know, I like the way that looked. So let's do the same test Buchan did. And again, I can't claim this to be my own, but all I'm gonna do is lay this down. I'm gonna put one glob of this, the conventional oil, one glob. Oh, this is fun. I'm actually having a blast doing this. I don't know why, because I'm a nerd. And, okay, DGP. Okay? Look at the difference. I hope that shows you guys what you need to see. This is good oil. I don't even know what else to say, friend. Scott, you win, buddy. Remember, this fellow, he was pretty darn sure that his oil would work in this climate. And, well, friends, this is good oil. This is the best oil I've ever sampled. It's not cheap, but you know what? It's good. And I'm more interested in how products perform more than anything else. Anyhow, friends, I'm getting frostbite already. I'm gonna go back in the shop. Whew. I just cooked my hands like that. Let's take some gear off here. I just put some more wood in the wood stove. Okay. Oh, wow. The things we do for the art form that is YouTube. Oh, wow, friends. Wow. That hurts. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, but when it's this cold here, I'd just like to explain this for those of you that are blessed enough to live in a place that isn't this cold. When you're outside in the cold here and then you come into the warm, you start to feel the pain right away. That was 2 minutes. When you start to warm up your fingers, it feels like you hit the tip of each finger with a hammer. True story. Okay, let's talk about this and let's go into greater detail. I had some comments. I'm just going to pause you guys here. Just want to grab this stuff again. I had a couple of comments on the last video about, well, that doesn't make any difference because the crankcase of the chainsaw gets warm, it warms the bar oil, and that's it. So just warm your saw up. I used to think that way too, but if you're cutting in this kind of weather, or even in the -16 we had last time, your crankcase, if you let your saw warm up sitting on the ground in the snow, your crankcase doesn't ever get that warm. It doesn't. Your cylinder doesn't ever get that warm. And what ends up happening, even if the bar oil is warm, the bar is freezing cold. And the minute this oil leaves the crankcase, guess what happens? It starts to cool. When you're in the cut, as long as you stay on it, it should flow. But a lot of times what happens is, you guys saw it outside, the bar oil turns into taffy. And you end up freezing your chain to your bar. That's why I'm a perpetual throttle blipper. It's because I cut in the cold a lot. And what ends up happening is the chain will stick to the bar, or you just stop flowing. It'll freeze in the little hole where it enters the bar rail, and you end up not oiling. You smoke your chain and your bar. It happens all the time here, especially on a long bar. A long bar in winter, if you don't have good oil, a 20-inch bar, not as much of a problem, but still a problem. But as your bar lengths get longer, you really need that oil to flow down that bar rail. And so I got those comments quite a bit, and I was like, yeah, you're right. But in my opinion, and I would admit if I was wrong, because it's like, I actually thought about this for a while. I see comments and I go, that's interesting. But like I said, if you throw your saw on the ground and you let it idle, guess what? Your oil's not flowing, and any oil that's on the bar will freeze. And I just showed you guys there that bar oil's like taffy. You're running a chain through taffy, and that stuff's tacky and grippy. And what ends up happening, you lose power, your bar gets hot, and you lose your lubrication factor because that chain's going through the wood without proper lubrication. If it's not flowing through the bar, it's not flowing onto the chain, and it's just not flowing. So another thing I noticed about this stuff, it doesn't seem to fling off the bar like a normal oil would when it's warmer out. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to show that, but next time we play with this stuff, I'd like to put conventional oil in one saw and this oil in one saw and let them both sit and see if I can get the bar to stick. Might be interesting. So anyhow, friends, hope that answered some questions. And again, anything I show on this channel is just stuff I'm interested in. And I don't do sponsored products or sponsored videos. If I had a sponsored video, friends, you'd see it in the top corner. This video is sponsored or whatever it says. You guys, I'm sure you see it all the time on videos you watch. You might not even notice it. And then when you go into the description, there's no affiliate links because I'm just horsing around in my shop. Same thing I've always done, and same thing I'm going to keep doing. I'm just a regular fella hanging out in my shop like you guys and gals out there and just puttering. Anyhow, friends, on that note, that was kind of fun. And I don't know, maybe we'll get some minus 40 or minus 50 temps without the wind chill. And again, this is minus 28 plus the wind chill, which is cold. We get colder here. Now I'm curious, can I hit a point where this stuff will actually freeze? Now I'm just on a mission. What's the failure point or failure temperature of this product? I don't know, but I'm really going to find out. Anyhow, friends, thanks for watching. Take her easy, and I'm going to find a question of the day and jump back in. Okay, it's time for question of the day. Today's question of the day is from John Van Leuven. Hope I'm saying your last name right, buddy. Hi, Tin Man. I'm new to porting saws, but have some experience with two-stroke advanced tuning. Thought I'd give saws a try and bought a Farmertech 372. My question is on the exhaust port. When the piston is at bottom dead center, the bottom of the exhaust port is well above the top of the piston. Is there any reason I would want to lower the bottom of the exhaust port to match at bottom dead center? My experience was always that the bottom of the exhaust port matches the piston to exhaust as much as possible. Any help would be, or any advice would be appreciated. Well, that's a good question, John. I'd have to see a picture of it, but more often than not, on most, if not all chainsaws I've ever ported, here's a 372 that I ported. I will bring you in close. At bottom dead center, my piston is partially, the top of the piston is partially covering the exhaust port bottom. To me, it's uncommon for a piston to be lower than the exhaust port. The question is, should you lower the exhaust port? Well, here's my thinking. A big, giant exhaust port is not always advantageous to making power. Sometimes it is. Again, I'd have to see the size, shape, etc. and timing numbers, and that way I could give you a little bit more of a rough guesstimate. But I will say, you don't want, in my opinion, and again, other people might do it differently, you don't want a giant exhaust port. Most saws that I port, the piston actually goes down and the bottom of the exhaust port is actually lower than the crown of the piston. So again, depending on how far it is, you may want to lower it a little bit. I don't like giant exhaust ports, especially if you widen them. I like them to be a little more narrow to keep the support on the piston as much as possible. I'm going to show you a saw that I built just recently on the channel. Let's look at this 460. I'll bring you right in here. How far does the piston move below the exhaust port, or is it higher than the exhaust port? And this is a 372 that I ported. Let's have a look-see. Okay, first things first, this is one of my 372s. We're going to be building this saw very soon. Here's what I did. I'll put a stock cylinder of the same brand next to it. There. That gives you a better look. I'm a make the transfers giant kind of feller. Again, some guys think that's wrong. Some guys agree, but that's what I do. Okay, transfers are hogged out. Thin the bridge here, open up the primary more than the secondary. I've also raised the uppers a bit. There's a stock one. Here's my intake. And I don't like giant intake ports either. I feel like you can lose some vacuum. And there is ways of testing that. We may have to do that on a video sometime. Here's the intake. Okay, let's look at the exhaust ports. My exhaust port, widened, not really raised. There's a stock one. Okay, so you can see I don't have a giant exhaust port. It's wide, but it's narrow up and down. When this thing travels in here, okay, it doesn't go, look how far it would have to go to clear the exhaust port. It doesn't go down that far, okay? It goes down to about there, if that makes any sense. And in fact, let's just keep going here. I have a bottom end here, mocked up, that we're going to put this cylinder on. Where's the ported one? Right here. Let's just slam this back down onto here. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this backwards until I can see it's at bottom dead center. Here it is at bottom dead center, roughly. Oh. Notice it does not clear, okay? So the piston does not clear. So the piston is actually blocking the exhaust port. Here's that 460 I just built, a steel, but same bore and stroke. We're at bottom dead center here. Look, the piston actually covers. So, okay. And yes, this saw is missing a ring. To each their own though, right? We all do different moves. I'm not one to say anybody's moves are wrong. It's just what I do. Okay, there's your exhaust port. I did not touch the bottom, and my piston covers it. So, okay, that kind of gives you an idea, I hope, of what my port jobs look like, where my pistons sit. To me, it's odd that the piston is that much lower. If you want to lower it some, you're not going to hurt anything. But again, and again, you could have a giant exhaust port and have the saw run good. Me personally, I don't like them to be too big. That's just my own opinion. But if you want to lower it some, that's fine. At bottom dead center, though, realistically, if you're at bottom dead center, your transfers are already open, and your exhaust should have more or less evacuated the combustion chamber. At bottom dead center, you're not really flowing anymore. So you have evacuated the cylinder, you've pumped down the bottom end charge into the top of the piston, and you're starting to close. Now, try it. One thing I tell people, porting is not easy because it's a lifetime journey. I am always trying new things. Try the saw the way it is. Do your port work, widen or raise or a combination of both. Put the saw back together and run it. If you think it needs a bigger exhaust port, by feel, make the exhaust port bigger. Me personally, I wouldn't lower it unless you're going for something specific. But to me, I would leave it the way it is and just kind of see how the saw runs. It'll probably run fine or it won't. The only way to do it is, to me, the only way to know for sure is to run it with the piston below the exhaust port and then try lowering the exhaust port. Anyhow, hope that helps, John. Send me an updated email if you run the saw. Let me know how it runs and maybe I can put it in another question of the day. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Take her easy. Later.